10 years ago, Jimmy Morales was invisible, except when he wasn't. At 22, soft around the middle and shy to the bone, he carried himself like someone apologizing for taking up space at Midwestern State University. His only solace was literature, late-night coding projects, and the quiet, aching admiration he held for July Whitmore, a sharp-eyed journalism major with a laugh like wind chimes and a habit of making everyone feel seen, except him. He'd spent weeks drafting a letter, not grandiose, not desperate, just honest. He wrote about how her essay on media ethics had changed his perspective, how he admired her courage, and yes, that he'd quietly loved her since sophomore year. He signed it simply, Jimmy. 2 days later, the letter appeared pinned to the campus bulletin board, photocopied, highlighted, annotated with crude doodles and captions like Fat Jimmy's Love Manifesto and Wants to Cuddle and Code? Below it, a printed email chain showed July forwarding it to half the journalism department with the subject line, "Lol, check what the cafeteria ghost sent me." The humiliation didn't just burn, it froze him. He stopped attending classes, avoided the dining hall, withdrew from everything. And then, one August morning, Jimmy vanished. No goodbye, no forwarding address, just an empty dorm room and a library book left open on Nietzsche. What does not kill me makes me stronger. 10 years later, James, J.J. Morales, wasn't just fit, he was carved from discipline. 6'3", broad-shouldered, with eyes that missed nothing, and a net worth north of $3.2 billion. His AI-driven logistics empire, Axiom Flow, had revolutionized global supply chains. Forbes called him the silent architect of modern commerce. He rarely gave interviews, never attended galas, and never forgot. One rainy Tuesday in Manhattan, his executive assistant slid a hiring dossier across his obsidian desk. She said, "Finalist for Head of Corporate Communications, strong press background, crisis management experience, former journalist." He flipped it open. July Whitmore. Her photo showed a woman still beautiful but weary, dark circles under her eyes, résumé padded with short-term gigs and nonprofit work. Her bio mentioned navigating industry shifts post-pandemic and seeking meaningful alignment with visionary leadership. James didn't smile. He didn't scowl. He simply tapped the file. Hire her. Full salary, corner office, start Monday. July walked into Axiom Flow's 50th floor headquarters trembling with relief. After years of freelance hustling and mounting debt, this job was salvation. She rehearsed her first day speech in the elevator, professionalism, humility, eagerness to contribute. But when she entered the conference room for orientation, James stood by the floor-to-ceiling window, backlit by the skyline. He turned slowly. Recognition hit her like a physical blow. Her breath caught. "Jimmy? James? I had no idea you were—" "Mr. Morales," he corrected, voice smooth as steel. "Welcome to Axiom Flow, Ms. Whitmore. You'll be reporting directly to me." The next 6 months were exquisite torture. He never raised his voice, never insulted her. He simply remembered. During a strategy meeting, he'd pause mid-sentence and say, "Remind me, July, how do you handle confidential information, given your history with private correspondence?" When she presented a campaign draft, he'd tilt his head and murmur, "Interesting. I recall you once found handwritten vulnerability quite shareable." He assigned her to lead Axiom's Integrity in Media initiative, a public campaign about ethical journalism, and made press photos show her standing beside banners reading "Truth over Virality." He also tracked down Chad Miller, the ringleader of Jimmy's tormentors, now bankrupt after a failed crypto venture. James bought his debt, then offered him a janitorial contract at Axiom HQ, contingent on cleaning July's floor every Friday. Chad's hollow eyes met hers each week in silent, shared shame. But the true revenge wasn't in their discomfort. It was in James's unshakable calm, in the way he'd walk past July's office, see her staring at old campus photos on her phone, he'd had IT flag them, and say, gently, "Regret is a heavy burden, best not to carry it on company time." One evening, July found an envelope on her desk, no note, just a single sheet, a scanned copy of Jimmy's original letter, now preserved behind museum-grade glass in James's private study according to the authentication seal. On the back, in crisp ink, he'd written, "You laughed because you saw weakness. I disappeared because I felt it. I returned because I mastered it. Keep the job, earn it. JM." She quit the next day. James didn't stop her. He'd already won, not by destroying them, but by becoming so untouchable, so whole, that their cruelty became a footnote in his origin story. He'd built an empire not to crush them, but to prove that the boy they mocked contained a titan. And as his private jet lifted off for Zurich that weekend, James Morales finally closed the ledger on his past, not with fire, but with silence, the kind that echoes louder than laughter ever could.